More than 300 low-income families have moved into homes built by Habitat for Humanity in Brevard. Today, I'll take you to the site of one of those houses under construction, where two Habitat leaders explain what the program is all about. I'm Matt Reed in the Florida Today newsroom. Part of the reason for today's program is to dispel some of the misperceptions about what the homes look like and who gets to move into them. I was surprised by the quality and appearance of this house on Sarno Road in Melbourne, and I was surprised to hear the effort prospective owners must commit to move into a Habitat for Humanity home. Bill, tell me a little bit about Habitat for Humanity in general. What is your mission and what are you doing?
You know, Habitat for Humanity is a Christian organization, and our goal is to build quality houses for deserving families here in Brevard County. And those families are families that earn that house through work that they do, through education that we provide, and the fact that they have to have a job and pay a mortgage, but we can talk more about that.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, one of the things that I pictured before I came to this property was, you know, Jimmy Carter and a bunch of people banging together a shed, essentially, you know, for somebody who's going to get a free house.
Right.
But that's a misperception. What is that?
Yeah, our goal is to make sure that when we enter someone into the community that they are going to be a long-term resident that the neighborhood is proud of. So in addition to having a house that's high quality, we want to make sure we put quality families in those neighborhoods. And so their family members have to have a job. They have to be able to pay a mortgage, and those mortgages are held by Habitat. It's a no-interest, that is one of the things. It is a no-interest loan, but that's to give them that chance of succeeding. We also require that every family put in at least 200 hours of sweat equity, and if there's multiple family members that are going to live in the house, we get them involved too. So husbands, wives, children, moms and dads, you know, it's a wide variety of people that do come work with us. There's also an education portion of the program. We make sure that those that are going to live in the houses are taught how to manage their finances, are taught how to do certain things that they may have had difficulty with or may not be aware of. And again, to make sure that we have a successful family that moves into that house.
How do you select the sites for places like this? Do you just shop around and look for a property that's available, or do people reach out to you?
Any number of ways that we receive properties, and some of them are foreclosed properties, others are provided to us by banks, others are provided by homeowners that were in a neighborhood, some are provided by neighborhoods. And so any number of ways that we get properties where we actually build a house from the ground up, and in many cases with foreclosures where we actually go in and do a renovation. And recently we've started a new program, which is critical home repair, which we go in and actually, you know, repair roofs or go in and update the electrical systems or plumbing or whatever the case may be, if indeed they qualify for one of our critical home repair grants.
Where does the money come from for Habitat for Humanity? To be able to lend out the money or to be able to buy lumber and property, that kind of thing?
We're very lucky to have many of the local businesses that provide for us, and where they make a donation to build an entire house. Churches have been very, very helpful to us, where a group of churches or a single church will give us the money to build a house. And we do a lot of fundraising. We have our annual Strawberry Festival over at Wickham Park, and the gala that this year is going to be held on the 13th of September in our current facility that's brand new, the Restore, that we have on Babcock. And the theme this year is There's No Place Like Home, and there was no better place to do it than in our new home on Babcock. So one of the things that we need most from our community is unrestricted funds. Those dollars that we can go out and build a house in a neighborhood, so we can use those funds to even be more productive in what we do. And so the board of directors is responsible, and as the chairman of the board, we have a board of 20 individuals. And our goal is to not only look at the policies and procedures within the company, but also how are we going to do fundraising? How do we bring in more of those unrestricted funds that give Charlotte and the other people at Habitat the opportunity to go out and do what they do. We've started a garden shop where we're actually selling some plants now down in our Restore. Our brand new Restore, when we moved from Ellis Road to where we are in Babcock now, the amount of money that we're bringing in is much higher because we have a facility that people like to come to. They like to shop in, and they like to donate to. So the local community providing us furniture that is, gently used, and other things that we can sell there certainly has been beneficial. So it's a combination of fundraising through the Restore, fundraising through these corporations and churches, and just individual donors. We recently had a gentleman that was so taken by our mission that he decided to give us $265,000.
Wow.
That's a wow. He's a wonderful man, and that has helped us tremendously to be able to pay off our construction loan in our new facility. So if there's any other folks out there that would like to give us that kind of money, we're more than willing to take it. But seriously, better than 80% of every dollar that we get goes towards building homes or renovating homes for people that are deserving.
Give me a sense, soup to nuts, how much does it cost to build a house like this? I mean, is it...
On average, if you use the number 85,000 is a good number. We look for donations from a sponsor. We'll bring in about 50,000 is a great number to get from a sponsor, and then we make up the difference in those fundraisings that we do. And it depends on the house. We build everything from 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom with a garage house to, in some cases, a 3-bedroom with double 2-car garage. We've done some duplexes. We've done at least a 2-story duplex, and so we do a variety of houses depending on the neighborhood's requirements, depending on the city's requirements within Brevard County, and depending on the needs of the family. And a family, we have a list of families that are qualifying families that we go out and review where they're currently living and determine whether they're the kind of family that should have a house. And then we look for a neighborhood for them, and then we offer that house to them. And so it's kind of a long continuum, but it's everything from industry being involved, churches being involved, individuals that are looking for homes, and neighborhoods that are looking for repair and new homes within those neighborhoods.
What got you involved in this program?
I was first in St. Louis at Scott Air Force Base while I was in the Air Force, and someone suggested going out on a weekend, and I saw what it did for families. And you just have to go to one house dedication where a young child walks up and says, "You've changed my life, and you're hooked forever." And when I came to Brevard County working for Northrop Grumman, I got involved with them on weekends, and then found out there was an electrical team, and so I joined the electrical team. And from that, found myself on the board of directors. So
awesome. Well, let's take a look at this house.
Absolutely. We're at 2391 Sarno Road here in Melbourne, Florida, and one of our most recent new construction houses, sponsored by Harris Corporation. And it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. The young lady that's going to live here is handicapped. She is in a wheelchair permanently. So this house is also ADA compliant. So the ramps all the floors are constructed, doorways constructed so that they're ADA compliant. And I'll even show you in the bathroom where we have it built so that the person that her husband is tall, so we have a 1 shower head for him and a low one for her so that she can wheel her wheelchair in there and take her shower. We also do things like our plugs in an ADA house are higher and our switches are lower so that the person in the wheelchair can use the house and feel very comfortable as they move around their own home. So again, a garage. This is that we're standing in is the living dining room, a kitchen. That is very spacious, as you'll see, and then 2 bedrooms with a handicap compliant bathroom and a back patio. Okay, and this is the kitchen, and you can see these are the appliances that have been donated by Whirlpool. Whirlpool does donate appliances for each and every house that we have across the United States of America. So this will be a full kitchen with the cabinets against that wall, and this will be a dining area over here with a light chandelier that will hang down in that location. All of our bedrooms have ceiling fans, and in this house you'll notice that all the doorways are a little bit wider so that they meet the requirement for a handicap home. This is the one of the bedrooms. and the other bedroom is back here. And then this bathroom is a larger bathroom. You have to be able to move the wheelchair about in the bathroom, and also, as I mentioned earlier, be able to take the wheelchair into the shower with a shower head for the wheelchair and a shower head for the person that will be standing in the shower. When the wall raising happened, the people that were here that day, everybody takes a Sharpie and puts a message on the house. And this is one that says, "God bless this house and everything that dwells in it." And it's signed N-A-E. So Nay put a comment on this, and there's probably about 200 of those kinds of comments that are throughout the house, so that you won't be able to read them when the walls go up, but they're there, they're part of the spirit of the home and the people that helped build it.
So Charlotte, you are running the day-to-day operations as the Chief Operations Officer. Tell me a little bit about, from the point of view of people that come in, what is the process that they have to go through? I mean, there's an impression that I think some people get that they show up, they get a free house.
That is the impression, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. Our families come in, they have to fill out an application, they have to qualify for our program, they have to have the need for shelter, the ability to pay, and the willingness to partner. So the need for shelter is substandard or inadequate housing. A lot of the families these days are living with other families, so it's a very crowded situation, or they have a landlord that won't or can't fix the house that they're living in.
Oh, I see.
So it's substandard. The need to partner with us.
Yeah.
So they have to come out and they have to do the sweat equity.
Now, sweat equity, what does that mean? Do they have to have carpentry skills? Can they paint?
No skills required for
Okay.
families or for volunteers. So when a family comes out, they're required to do a minimum of 200 sweat equity hours with us. That is a minimum. That includes an education course for 25 hours. We do Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace.
Oh, okay.
We
So
have a Bank of America Vice President and also a Vice President of TD Bank that join together and facilitate that for us. They have to do 25 hours out in the community at another nonprofit, and then they have to do 50 hours on another family partner's house before they even qualify for a lot with us. Once they qualify for a lot, they have to come out and do at least 100 hours on their own property. Our major day for doing the volunteerism is Saturday.
Okay.
So all family partners are required to work every Saturday. Sometimes that creates an issue with their job, and most jobs are willing to work with us to let the families do that.
What is the, I know you have sponsors. Tell me a little bit about this property here.
This property was donated by Bank of America through a program that they have.
Okay.
There was a property on here, there was a house, and it was in such disrepair that we had to tear it down and start from scratch.
Okay.
When we start from scratch for a house, we tailor the house to the family. So this house is an ADA required house because of the ladies in a wheelchair.
Okay.
The sponsor for this house is Harris Corporation, and Harris has been a great sponsor throughout the years. I think this is their 5th house, and they give us $50,000 to buy materials for this house from the slab up.
50,000 and volunteers? They come
And
out?
volunteers, every Friday that they're off and on all Saturdays.
Okay.
So they come out here and they do the sweat equity also. So it is not required of a sponsor to do that, but Harris, is, like I said, is a great partner and they want to do that.
How would somebody, if they wanted to become a regular volunteer, be part of your electrical team or a carpentry team or, I don't know, a concrete pouring team? How do they do that?
We have a form on our website. All they have to do is fill out one of our waiver volunteer forms and then let us know when you want to come out. We have a volunteer coordinator in the office. Her name is Molly, and we're always looking for volunteers, especially retired people that are skilled that can come out during the week. Like I said, Saturday we get a lot of unskilled, which is great. That's how we get things done. But sometimes we need the skilled volunteers also. And that's our greatest need right now is our volunteers during the week. We work on the houses from Wednesday to Friday during the week, and we always need volunteers. So groups are great. If a company wants to get together and maybe do a team building out on one of our job sites, that's wonderful.
while we were walking around the property a little bit, I heard you and Bill mention different types of builds, apostle build or other kind. Tell me a little bit about that. What were we talking about?
A lot of times the $50,000 is a lot of money for one person or one organization to come up with. So we have to be a little creative. So if a company or a church cannot get that money together, what we do is group churches together. So we come up with the 45 or the 50,000 that's required for the build, and we create apostle builds, or we create a group of companies that normally would not work together, and they come out and for the good of the cause, come out and build a house for a family in need.
Is there a pattern that you prefer to follow? This is a nice looking house in the middle of a neighborhood. There aren't other Habitat for Humanity houses around it that I know of, but there are other places, like I think in the Booker T. Washington neighborhood, where there's several of them nearby. Is there a type of approach that you prefer? Is it this, or is it the building a group, or?
We do wherever we can get the properties. So we build wherever we get properties. Recently, we have not had to purchase anything. It's all been donated properties or land or houses and or both. We go where the need is and where we have the properties. We have to be able to make it affordable for our houses. So, of course, we're not going to go buy a lot of beachside for $90,000 because that wouldn't be affordable to our families. The families do pay a mortgage, so everything has to be affordable for them, the insurance, everything.
How long do people typically stay in a home that they buy? Do they wind up paying off their mortgages and staying, or do some of them move up?
We have quite a few families that have paid off their mortgages. We have served 320 families to date in Brevard County, and we have 177 mortgages on our books right now. So that tells you how many families have either paid off their mortgage or moved on. Sometimes we get a family that they've outgrown their house or they've bettered themselves in life, and they donate the property back to us to use for another family.
Have you ever had to foreclose on anybody?
Of course. Foreclosure is our last resort. We always say somebody has to try to get us to foreclose on the property. If we have open dialogue with a family partner, we can work with them. And that's what we encourage all our family partners. Habitat's a family. So when families having problems, we work with you. We're not going to go and foreclose on you.
And I'm guessing that since they have already put in some time with you doing fundraising and education and the sweat equity elsewhere, you've gotten to know them some, so when they say, look, here's my situation, you have more of a relationship with them than if you were just a bank.
And we are the bank, so we don't have to account for somebody that gave us the money for that. We get the money and we finance all the mortgages. So we can work and we can say, okay, we'll defer your principal payments for the amount of times it takes you to go find a job. Because typically our families are the first to lose their jobs because they're the lower income. So typically when there's a layoff that occurs, they're the first to lose their job.
Now you described the person that was moving into this house. I guess it's a couple, and then the woman uses a wheelchair, is disabled. What kind of a payment do they need to make every month on a place like this?
Most of our mortgages are under $350 per month. That includes the principal payment, the insurance, and the taxes, and a termite bond on the house. So under $350. Most of the time when people move into a Habitat house, they've been paying $800 out in the community. So that has a twofold thing. It gives them more money to do what they need to do in their lives, but it also gives them more money to go out and spend in our economy, to boost our economy, okay? When they pay their principal payment, all their principal payments get rolled back into what's called Fund for Humanity, that we can draw off to build more houses for more families. So they themselves become a sponsor at that point.
So is the Fund for Humanity one of the barometers that you look at in terms of your organization's health? How much is in there? What can we do?
It is. Each month, typically that gives us enough to fund operations and to help build on the houses. So the more people that are out there working, paying their mortgages, the more we can do.
And people can donate directly to that?
People can donate directly to Habitat.
Okay.
They can do unrestricted funds, they can do monthly contributions, they can do we have a way to give if you want to give. We have in-kind sponsorships. We have people that give certain things to each house here. They're going to be giving fire extinguishers. They give of their time for the plan place that we use. They don't charge us for any of our plans for any of our houses.
Really?
That amounts to a lot of money, especially when you've been dealing with 320 families. So we have great community support. Not to say well, we don't always need more, but our community, Brevard County in general, is great. Anytime there's a need, they're there.
So you said Harris donated $50,000 to this build and volunteers. I saw some appliances boxed up in there. Where did they come from?
Whirlpool gives a range and a refrigerator to all Habitat houses across the nation. So we get a lot of corporate sponsors like that that come through Habitat International. They make the contact, and then everybody benefits from it. Lowe's is another one. Lowe's does Women's Build. They sponsor Women's Build, which we've had 4 houses here of Women's Build. We also have a partnership with Eastern Florida State and Brevard County School Systems, where we have a youth build program. So youth builds are 16 to 24-year-old people that have had problems in the past where they have not been able to get their high school education.
Okay.
So they come to us, they go part-time to school to get their GED, and then they do the workforce that they need here at Habitat.
So they start...
They're building my house. Feels really good. I'm like a little overwhelmed, you know.
We're rehabilitating this home. We're getting it ready for a transitional home for the Space Coast Center for mothers with children. So we're rehabilitating it so a family that graduates from that program will have a place to live as a transitional home.
I wanted this for my kids. They deserve to see mommy succeed. I wanted school, you know, I wanted everything, the whole package. But I didn't realize how hard that was going to be until I moved in the program, you know, but man, was it worth it. It was worth sticking it through.
The group's all working, communication going on and all that stuff. Youth Build is a lot more than just building a house. We take 16 to 24-year-olds, didn't complete high school. We have 2 GED instructors to help them get their educational diploma. But we also have them come out to the work site and learn basic construction skills with a lot of emphasis on building self-esteem and self-worth, having value on an individual level for each of the participants.
What do you want to do in the long run?
I want to go to school, be a medical assistant or a cosmetologist, have my own barbershop.
What do you think you're learning here that's going to help you do that?
Teamwork, courage, getting outside of your comfort zone, relying on other people but not too much, self-control, self-confidence. Everything's wrapped in one here.
So they start learning hands-on construction, carpentry.
Right. And most of them
skills.
decide that they don't want to do that because it's hot out here doing this stuff.
It is.
But it gives them the discipline of having a job. And we try to make it so that they get their dignity back. Because a lot of times when people have had trouble, they think that they're the scum of the earth, and that's the furthest from the truth. So we give them their dignity back as they're working with us.
No, are they also earning money while they're doing that?
They are. They earn minimum wage through a grant with the Department of Labor.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. Now, let me just ask you a couple of nuts and bolts questions about the structure itself. Well, not necessarily the structure, but this is like a 1,500 square foot house.
It is.
I think I mentioned that it looked really nice from the street. I remember seeing houses years ago that didn't have garages on them, for example.
Right.
This one does.
We have to go by the code of the city that we're building in.
Okay.
So we have a lot of properties that only a one-car garage is required. We have a couple places up in Cocoa and Titusville that it is a 2-car garage that's required. So we have to go by the local codes.
Okay.
And that's why some houses in Habitat houses in other areas, they don't have to have a garage. So it all goes with the local code.
Do you ever run into any issues with zoning or maybe neighbors who don't know that the property is going to look like this? They hear, oh my God, I'm going to get a
We
Habitat
do.
for Humanity house next door?
There's always misconceptions out there, but once we start building, we dispel them. And people come to realize that we're in a neighborhood to make a difference. And we do make a difference in our neighborhoods that we go into.
So have you been involved, I guess this is a silly question, but you've been involved in the Habitat for Humanity homes that have been built over in the Booker T. Washington neighborhood in Melbourne.
I have.
It's been a number of years since we went back and visited those. How has the neighborhood changed there? Has it changed?
The neighborhood has changed drastically, whereas before the kids didn't feel safe going to the playground to play, they do now. We have residents, Habitat homeowners that are involved with the police force to make the neighborhood better. We go down there, you don't have to be afraid to go down there at any time of any day now, like it used to be. So we do make a difference. The people that we put in the houses, the family partners, they're the ones that make the difference. They're living that every day. We're here to support them, and we do any way we can, but they're the ones making the difference.
Charlotte, thank you so much. This
You're
has been a
welcome.
nice property, and
welcome.
it's been good to get to know the
Thank you.
program.
Thank you.
Interested in volunteering or donating to Habitat for Humanity of Brevard County? The easiest way is to start at its website, brevardhabitat.com. That's our program. I'm Matt Reed. We'll see you right here next week on WEFS and FloridaToday.com.